And welcome back to WCCF Tech TV, guys. It's Keith again, and today we're going to take a look at the Corsair Void Surround. Alright, so the Corsair Void Surround is their latest introduction in their Void series. Real quick to get it out of the way, there's no fancy lighting, there's no RGB. This is basically a USB or 3.5mm jack Dolby Surround capable headset with a microphone. Now, just to look at the build of it, the outer shell is plastic, but under it is a really heavy-duty metal brace. It's a lot more sturdy than it looks. Like it doesn't look like it would be nearly as sturdy as it is. So I mean, you can, like here, you can bend it all around with no real problems. It's got good flex on it. You don't really have to worry about it crushing. The folding is really nice. I like that it folds flat. You're not really going to have it around your neck a whole lot because it's going to kind of look like it's choking you, but it'll lay flat on surfaces. The headband is rather adjustable. It goes quite a bit all the way out, all the way in. Just to give you an idea on my head, this is all the way down, all the way in. It's a little short for much smaller heads, and then all the way out it goes down almost around the bottom of my jaw. Now, the technical specifications is, of course, it's a USB Dolby 7.1 adapter. It says long wear and comfort, but we'll get into that a bit later. But it has compatibility with the PC, PS4, Xbox One, and mobile, so you can actually use it for your cell phone. I actually tried that. It was kind of interesting, but it did work. The drivers on it are 50mm drivers, but again, it's Dolby Surround, so it's a single driver per ear can. And it's a unidirectional noise canceling microphone. Now, I have to give them credit. I wasn't really sure what to think about the color, but the red is quite nice. And the lack of LEDs don't bother me at all because I don't see it when I'm wearing it. So honestly, the comfort and the sound quality are what's really important to me. Now, comfort-wise and the headset, it has memory foam in the ear cups and it's soft padded on the top. It's fairly light, so it doesn't feel heavy on your head after you've been wearing it for a while. The only complaint that I really have about the comfort of it is while it rotates in this direction, it doesn't rotate this way. And just as an example, reach over here and grab my ratty old, now these are Turtle Beach PX3s. I've had them for years, but to give you an idea, these rotate this way flat, just like those did, but they also rotate that way a fair bit. And the reason that's important, especially for me and the 6 other people that I had try on the headset, is because without it rotating in that direction, there's a bit of pressure on your head from this portion. Now it is soft, but the thing is, after a while, it starts to kind of press in on your head. But, and interesting enough, when you put them on, don't put the strap straight up over your head. It's going to be more toward the front. So just to get it on here and get it set to size, you'll have it more along the front of your head, which is a little bit different, and it's actually kind of comfortable because, I don't know, maybe it's just your head feels better there. But the problem is there's pressure here. So after a while, you start to feel that pressure kind of build up. So I'm usually fine for about an hour, but past that, I start to feel that pressure, and it leaves a bit of a gap behind the ears. Now, again, I said about 6 other people tried this on, and they ranged in size from a female friend of mine who was 5 foot and fairly small to another friend of mine who's 6'2" and about 300 pounds. He's a fairly big guy. So everybody had the same response. I just handed it to them when they came by my house. I said, hey, try this on, see how it fits. Tell me what you think. And they all came back with the same thing. So at least I tried it was more than just me. Now, looking at the headset, down here is your volume wheel and your microphone mute and unmute. Now, I absolutely love this because I got really used to it with my wireless headset, and I use this for whenever I've got to get up and get around and still want to talk to people. This is nice having it all in here so you don't have that oversized thing laying against your chest, or you're trying to pin it somewhere and you have to move it to mute the mic or adjust the volume. So that's really nice, Corsair. I got to give them mad props for that. Now, on the other end, you get your USB dongle, as well as this is the 3.5 jack. Now this is, again, you can use it on a cell phone or mobile device or something along those lines. Really handy if you're using your mobile device and you're using something like Skype or Google Hangouts or TeamSpeak, something like that. Or if you're like me and you travel a lot and you've got something like this is an HP Revolve. It's not the best laptop in the world, but it is one I use for work. And it's got DisplayPort and 2 USB plugs. Now I usually put my personal mouse and keyboard plugs in here, which leaves me with no USB ports. But luckily for this one, it's got a uniplug. That's what I keep calling it. But it's the 3.5 that's got the headset and the mic integrated. So I'm able to just plug it in right there, and I can use it without any extra software. Speaking of software, we're going to take a look at the software for the headset, and along with the software, while we're looking at that, I'm actually going to use the microphone built in for a microphone test. Now, I do want to talk about the mic before we jump into that. When I got the unit, it had the original firmware on it, and basically none of my friends would let me use this headset when I talked to them on Skype. One of the problems that I had was it sounded really robotic at first, and I would have to reboot my computer to make that go away. And then the other thing was it would bleed sound from the ear cups to the microphone, like it wasn't canceling the noise like it was supposed to. So I reached out to Corsair before I finished up the review because it seemed odd because other people were not having this problem, and Corsair wasn't able to recreate it. But about the time they sent me that email, there was a firmware update, so I updated the firmware on the headset, and you have to have it plugged in via USB to do that. And after that, the problem was gone. So after that, the mic wasn't an issue. But we're going to see how the mic sounds while we take a look at the Q software to see how all that works.
Alright guys, so this is using the Corsair Void Surround microphone, and this is the software. Let's take a quick look at it here. Now, right here on the front page, you've got the audio section. And of course, you've got your either a 3-band or a 5-band equalizer where you can go through and adjust it however you want to, from 32 up to 16,000 hertz. And like I said, this is the easy mode where you can go pure, bass boost, FPS competition, clear chat, movie theater, yada yada, based on what you want. You can either select it or deselect it so that they're not even an option to change. Now this is, of course, you can go in and tailor each one. You can actually change it to how you want it to be. You've got options for your microphone levels as well as your side tone. And this is the key here, the Dolby Surround. Now, while we're in here, since I didn't talk about it before, the Dolby Surround on here, I've used surround sound headsets. The PX3 that I have supports surround, Plantronics, Gamecom that I had supported surround sound, but nothing that I've used before quite does surround sound like this. It actually makes it sound as though the sound stage, like the speakers are no longer right against you. They actually sound several feet away, and it's really neat how it works, and I have to give them mad credit for that because it really does work. Now, if you've got a Corsair, the RGB keyboard, you can do the synchronized lighting, which what that does is turns your keyboard into basically an equalizer, and the sound will affect the colors and the pattern, which is pretty neat. Now you can save different profiles, so I've got it just left on the default one, but you can import them, export them. You've got your actions where you can set up hotkeys to, say, change the audio settings here, so you can change from each one of these based on however you set up keys. And then you got your lighting. These go along with, these are mostly for use with other headsets, but they're all here, as well as, and then your settings, you can go through, see the program, you can update it directly from within here. You got your media players that it's associated with, and then you go to the device itself where you can update the firmware, and that's kind of what we talked about before with updating the firmware for it. Now, this is your support, so you can see the user manual, your online support. You can even see the system specs that I'm running at the moment, which is kind of cool that you've got access to all of that. All right, so that's been the microphone test as well as the software demonstration. So we're going to jump back and we'll get to the conclusion.
All right, guys, so that was the software, and we talked about the headset and the makeup and the comfort and the build of it. So until that firmware come through, I really was having a hard time giving this a recommendation, or even telling anyone to even try it, because the mic was non-usable, the headset was great, and the surround sound was staggering. I've never experienced surround sound on a headset like that, but I wasn't going to be able to give it any kind of recommendation because the mic was so bad. Well, once that got fixed in the firmware, the only complaint I have is the pressure that you get right here, which over time it may or may not get better because of the memory foam. Maybe it takes time to get acclimated to my head, but it's not debilitating. It's not something that would stop me from recommending it to somebody. I would recommend, if at all possible, to try one on before you buy it, as it may be something to you. But for me, it's not enough to really get it too bad of a negative thing. That's really the only negative that I can find with it, other than the idea that you have to install the software for it to work. Because I know a lot of people don't like to install additional software, but it's useful software, and it kind of stays in the background and it doesn't get in your way. So that's been the Corsair Void Surround USB headset. Pretty solid headset. If you're in the market and it's in your price range, you definitely want to take a look at this one. You don't want to let it slip past you and you bought something else by accident when this could have been exactly what you wanted. Well, guys, that's been Keith again for WCCF Tech, and we'll see you in the next one.